put together a little slideshow. Here we go on part 2. But just before we get started, I do want to revise part 1 a little bit. During part 1, we had like a very broad discussion on self-love and self-worth. So in this segment, we'll be narrowing it down a little bit and having like a very specific framework. But just a few things that we went over during our last meeting. Self-love being a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. These things involve remembering who you are, reframing our thoughts to stay positive. Draw back into your true self and resonate with yourself about how another might feel. Like remaining understanding and just mindful, pay close attention to detail and enjoy the little things in life. So a couple of self-care practices were discussed during our last meeting. I know that one of our people are not here today, but she was during the last meeting, and she talked about giving herself self-love high fives. And so just doing those little things that are important to you, like giving yourself a little high five. Or Red talked about taking the time to really enjoy that sip of coffee or that little sip of wine and just pay attention to those close little details and the different emotions that those details bring up, the smells, the sounds, whatever it is, the taste. And then always remember that it's important to take control of what you can and accept the things that you can't. And most importantly, that I believe came out of our last meeting was to remember that passion has no end, that age is only a number. So, sorry. So it doesn't matter if you are 55 and you want to go back to school, do it, because you still have perhaps another 45, 50 extra years on you. My mother-in-law actually is, she's a caregiver, and she takes care of a woman who's 98 and she's still going pretty strong. If you have a passion, just go with it. You have a long life ahead of you. Age is only a number. Any questions on that last slide?
Here. I'm 52, so, and I went back to school and started over. So, yes, you can do it. There's a lot of life left in me.
Yes.
Oh, can I say something?
Please.
Tim was accepted in a master's program. I don't know if he shared that, but he's continuing education. So, kudos to Tim. Did you share it with the group?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I have not, but thank you. I'm like the journey continues for me. And like I said, there's a lot of life left ahead of me. I'm only about halfway through it. So.
Yeah. What is the master's program that you got involved in?
Global health.
Oh, nice.
So it's like studying the evolution of healthcare. Put it better. Evolutionary lifestyles, I guess.
My major is international health management, so I guess they are pretty close.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of commonality here. It's good. Okay, so revisiting part 1 on our broad discussion of self-worth. Self-worth is having self-value and understanding of skills and accomplishments that will support you in future goals and everyday life. Completely individual from everyone else, and everyone else has their own purpose. It's important to remember that and never to compare yourself to another being. We're all individual. In this individuality and finding of purpose, it's important to find transcendency and spirituality. And spirituality doesn't have to be religious. If you're not a religious person, that's okay. It just has to do with having that deep love for yourself and bringing out that self-worth through those oh, I lost my words through those skills. Sorry. I'm like, where did it go? Such an easy word. I don't know what happened there. And then highlighting your specific talents to drive that worth. Matching meaning and purpose to what gives your individual value. We're all individual. We all have different purpose and different meanings and different things that are important to us. And these values can involve family or learning, authenticity, love, empathy, humor, positivity, friendship, and so many more things. There's way more than what I've even listed here. It's whatever it is that's truly important to you. Does anyone have anything they want to share after that slide or any questions?
Follow your passions is what I believe in, and that's kind of what you're saying. You know,
Passions, yes.
yeah. What is it that makes you you? Go after it. So.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, after this slide, we're following a little bit more into the future zone here. So we're going to be jumping into our new segment. But before we get going in that, now that we've had a little recap of what we've gone over during the previous session, I was hoping to do a little icebreaker. So a fun little game. Super silly. It's called the one word alphabet game. And basically what it is you'll start with today I feel, and it'll be, so say I'm going first. So today I feel alpaca. I'm like, I have big puppy cheeks. I feel it on this side. So today I'm feeling alpaca. So then the next person, your word would have to start with B, and it can be whatever word that you want. Is everybody does anybody not willing to play the game, just so I know?
So what does alpaca mean? Is that just a random word you like?
That's just a random word that starts with A that I came up with. And when I think of alpacas, I feel like they always have these big old cheeks. And I just got my wisdom teeth out, so I feel like I have those big old cheeks right now.
Okay, I get it.
So that was my word. That's just what popped in my head.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just call the person underneath me Red. It is all you.
So I have the word be. Okay, so today I feel like the Boston Terrier. If that could be a word, an animal. It has to be an animal, right?
It can be whatever you want.
Oh, it can be anything.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll use bold along with the Boston Terrier. I didn't know if it had to be an animal. And the only reason is my Great Dane went into the backyard and I couldn't figure out what he was looking at. And he's barking and barking. And here we see this little dachshund and this little Boston. He might have been a French bulldog, but anyways, he's a bulldog. And I'm watching them and they're trying to hide in the shade. And I go, something's not right about this picture. So I got in my Jeep and I drove a way around to get to this house. The front door was open. This is a true story. This just happened an hour ago. And I'm calling for anybody around the house. There's nobody around. And also I pushed their little doorbell, that ring thing. And I kept pushing. Hopefully somebody would pick up their phone. Finally, I hear this little voice and it's a guy and I can hardly understand him. And he says, I'm not at home. And I said, I know, I can't find anybody here. I said, do you have two little dogs? And he goes, yes. I go, well, your door's open and your two dogs are outside. And he said to me, I'm at the hospital. And I go, what? He goes, my wife just had a baby. And I go, oh, I never even met my neighbor. So that was a way to meet him. And I rescued his two dogs. I got them in the house. They got out through the door. The door blew open. I don't know what happened, but they're saved.
Great.
And so I'll go and meet them when they come home from the hospital. So that was bold.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny. All right. Alrighty, Tim. I think it is all you. You have the letter C.
Okay, so I'm C. On my screen, Karen is below red, but either way. So today I'm feeling cabin. For me, every day right now is the cabin up north. So it's all about cabin living.
That vacation life, huh?
Yeah. Well, and therapy in nature, I guess, that's part of cabin living to me.
Yes, get that nice outdoor fresh air time, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Karen, you're next down on my line here.
So I'm D. I was thinking I may feel a little bit defiant today because I'm going to be pushing some boundaries later on. So I feel daring and defiant.
Would it be okay for me to ask you why?
What?
Why do I want to push the boundaries?
I'm sorry, what will you be pushing the boundaries of?
Well, it's a course that we put to rest for a long time, and people don't want to. Some of our curriculum committee members do not want to revive it, and our directors of academics are skeptical. But we have about 7 curriculum committee members that won this course back. So it's been denied for 2 years. So here we go again. And I think the argument now is easier because it's connected to a different perspective and different competencies and skills. So I think I'm building a good case for it, but it's still, kind of daring.
I love it. We have the rebellious Karen here, everybody.
Yeah. I was gonna say that Tim's cabin looks fancy.
I know, it
Well,
looks nice.
Yeah, thank you. It's all my mom and dad, so I just get to enjoy it.
Nice.
Okay. Rehab, I
My
have you
turn,
on.
right? So
Yeah.
I have the letter D. Okay, so for someone who is not an native English speaker, so I have limited vocab, but I can say today I'm feeling determined. Is it along correct with your flow of play? Are you following me?
I'm sorry, say the word one more time. I'm sorry. You know what?
Determined.
Is actually E.
E and E. So I should start with an E.
Yeah.
Okay. Today I'm feeling empathetic. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm trying to find why I'm feeling so. So I went through a situation today. A friend of mine told me that she is suffering from dental issues throughout her life, and that she met another patient. She told her that she never felt empathy from doctors. So my friend, who is a patient, showed her empathy that clinicians failed to show her. So that's usually what I relate to the word empathy, which is a doctor-patient relationship.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. Yeah, that's always hard when you come through those conflicts, Glad to hear that. Okay, and it looks like we lost one. So I think that was everybody. I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. All right, self-efficacy. A belief in one's capabilities to organize and execute the course of action required to manage prospective situations. And this was a quote that I had taken from a Canadian American psychologist. If we don't believe, sorry, I have to minimize this screen here. There we go. If we don't believe in our own strengths and capabilities, then it becomes difficult to complete whatever task it is that's at hand. By reminding ourselves of even a few of these strengths, then we can persevere even in the roughest of times. So I really just wanted to highlight this because it's important to have self-efficacy in order to feel that sense of self-love and self-worth. So highlighting our strengths is a really big part of that. It's a big important piece. Which brings me to the VIA Strengths Survey. This is a survey that I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with, but I know most of you probably are. So though, just a little bit of background on this. This gives you a list of 24 strengths and your 5 top strengths. And when I talk to my clients in coaching about these strengths, I really love to highlight the importance of the top 5 strengths. And I describe it as when you're baking a cake, it's so delicious and there's just so many different parts that you can pop into this cake. You want to put all the sugar in or whatever it is, sprinkles, everything, but too much and it's not going to come out right. It's not going to taste right. That's why it's important to focus on those 5 ingredients that make us the strongest that we are. And so that's kind of how I like to look at the 5 top strengths, is highlighting and utilizing these strengths in our everyday lives so that we can be our best selves. And I did attach like the little link here in case anyone was interested. I know most of you are familiar with it. But does anyone have any questions on that slide before I move forward here?
Nope.
Yeah, I have a, sorry.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. What is the difference between self-awareness and self-efficacy?
That's a really good question. So when it comes to self-efficacy, it's an understanding of your specific skill sets. But when you're self-aware, I guess it would be more along the lines of fully aware. So you're aware of your skill set.
Values, something like that.
Yeah, your values, but you're also aware of your defaults and areas of which you could work on and progress higher into. Karen might actually have a little bit more to describe on that. Do you want to chime in, Karen?
So, I'm sorry. I'm multitasking. I have to be honest.
Oh,
So
yeah, no
I'm
worries.
not sure
So
what
we
you
were
said
joking.
yet.
Yeah,
But
so
I
is there-
heard the question. The question was, what's the difference between self-care and self-efficacy? But I didn't
self-awareness,
hear
yeah.
self-awareness
Self-awareness, yeah, and
and
self-efficacy.
self-efficacy. And
So-
I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, that's okay. So I was describing self-efficacy as an understanding of your core values and your strengths, but self-awareness is a wider, broader scope of that, where you're looking at your strengths and your values as well as your defects and what you could work on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And also there's that component of self-efficacy, right? That allows you to be confident in whatever you're going to do, right? So being self-aware of whatever is preventing you to move forward. And self-efficacy is the confidence to do something around that which will help you to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, so the self-awareness piece is what you're trying to do today, sort of this consistent, and I'll let you explain it. I don't want to get in the way, but she did a great explanation on what it is.
And it's really good to combine the both. Like, okay, I'm aware that I have done this before and I have this skill set from that, but this task is a little bit different, but I can use the skill set, being aware of it. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I got recognizing of the subtle difference. I got your point.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So after that, I went into a few little tips here. And these are a few things of which we had talked about from the previous, but I kind of like narrowed it down so that we could discuss it just a little bit more in depth. Tips for higher self-love. Again, do your best not to compare yourself to others. This can be a really big challenge, especially when you're in the same age group or in the same job position. It can be a very, very difficult thing to do. But it's important to remember that you have these other skill sets that other people don't have too. We're all different. Stay away from red ants, automatic negative thoughts. This is mind reading, placing blame, and future telling. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Just because one small bad thing happened doesn't mean the whole rest of the day is going to be bad. We can't blame what happened on other people, just own our own actions. We did what we did. That's okay. Accept it, and we'll learn from it. Mind reading. Yeah, we have no idea what anybody else is thinking. And I don't know about you guys, but I come into contact with a lot of RBF. Does anybody not know what that means? No. Tim. It's resting bee face. I won't say the bad word.
Okay.
So it's, just that very serious face, but they're actually super duper sweet people. They just look like they're really mean when you're looking at them, but they're not. So just remembering that we can't mind read. It's okay to ask anybody, hey, how are you doing? What are you thinking? That communication will be key. Then allowing yourself to learn from our mistakes. Trust yourself to make the right decision. Evoke your true voice. Ignore the voice which is not yours. And that's that little voice in your head that's negative, that's not you. You're a really good-hearted person. Those negative thoughts, just kick them out. Just push them away. Let's think positive. Does anyone want to add anything onto that or have any questions?
So how do you push away thoughts? I guess, ignoring thoughts, but I constantly have self-doubt, but I'm also kind of pushed beyond that. So I don't know how to get rid of the self-doubt.
I'm glad that you word it in that way, because it's not that we want to ignore those thoughts. We want to hear those thoughts and listen closely to what they're telling us, and then look at the broader picture around it. Say, for example, let me see. Like, okay, I spilt my coffee. And I got coffee everywhere, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so stupid and clumsy. Like, I do this all the time. And then just stop and just, you know what? No, today I'm just having a bad day. It's okay. It's just coffee. I'm going to clean it up. We're going to move on. And the rest of my day is going to be great because I got that one little bad thing out of my day. So now everything else is going to be good. Like, I'm good now. It's clean. The coffee's clean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I'll try to use that in my daily routine. So
I want to add something. Sometimes an approach I use is to avoid seeking perfectionism and to just lower the expectations. So at the same time, we try for the best, but at the same time, if something bad happened, we are not surprised with it. We knew at least once daily something will happen that it's not our best thing that we wish for, but we anticipated. We try not to take this shock of it's happening. Are you getting my point?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, to go easy on yourself. Don't expect miracles all the time.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then also remind yourself of your strengths. Like, if something comes up and there's an obstacle there, just remember those core strengths that you have as a human, and just really blow those up in your head to almost like overpower the negativity. Does that
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I push on. So like I said before, I have self-doubts, but I overcome them. But they keep reappearing in my thoughts. So it's like the default is self-doubt. How can I get beyond that? And then I do. So
Yeah. I have a silly trick I was doing during my bachelor. So I always feel like so regret and blame if I made a silly mistake during exams. Especially at the school, it's mostly on memorizing. So if I forgot something during the exam, I feel a lot of blame and regret. So I decided exam, I will give myself an opportunity to do two silly mistakes. Beyond that, okay, I can feel regret and blame. But within the two, this is a range I would like not blaming myself. So also this approach helped me to like minimize the blame and regret. And most of the time, usually I do not reach this threshold. So we just need to reassure ourselves that it's okay to do mistake. Do not just, because sometimes we commit mistakes because we are afraid of doing them. I'm just talking from an exam perspective, but I guess it can be applied as well in life.
right, and everything. All right, cool.
Yeah, I can really
Good.
resonate with that. Yeah, with that feeling of blame and self-doubt and that fear aspect that you brought in. Short little story, my husband works on mopeds, and so oftentimes he'll get like a new moped and he'll want me to ride it, and I'm very afraid to ride it because I'll fall or whatever it is, and that fear does like get in the way there. But just because it's different, it's still kind of the same thing, so I kind of like try to persevere past that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's a good reminder to own those fears and just keep pushing on. Okay. um, Tips for higher self-worth. Remember who you are. Your strengths, you as a human with individual skills, have earned respect. Do what is important for you. So it's really important that we remember those skills and we highlight them to other people, especially when you do, because I mean, we're all human. We all come into contact with those who might talk down to you but not realize they're doing it, or different things in that area. And it's important to remember communication is going to be key in these areas, where you can go, hey, I don't know if you realize it, but you're talking to me in this way. I'm really good in these areas and I just need support here, and owning those weaknesses and those strengths and communicating with that other being are going to be really important when taking passion for that part of yourself, that self-worth. Does anyone have any thing to add on, or any questions that you want to ask?
So my mother comes to mind. She's 76 years old, failing health. She's very confident, cocky that her world, her perspective is the right one. So to outsiders, she's probably abrasive. But anyway, so I haven't really figured out how I can not offend her, and get into some of this. She constantly tells you things that kind of make you not feel worthwhile. So, but she doesn't mean that. She's it's all from the heart. It's just that it's from her own little echo chamber. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you brought that up because it seems as though you have like a really strong understanding of how your mom is and who she is as a person, the way that she comes on to outsiders, and almost utilizing that knowledge with other people, perhaps in like the same age group. For example, I've worked for Starbucks for many years, and I get customers, and where they'll be like, I'll say, "Here you go, thank you," and then they go, "Yep," not "You're welcome" or "Thank you" back or anything like that. And in those moments, I think of my grandpa, who always does the same thing. "Oh, hey, thanks, Grandpa." "Yep." Like that's what he says. That's just what he was taught to say, and that's like that generational difference. And so having an understanding of that it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, I see her for who she is, and I see her how other people see her, but I'm kind of too close, and I mean, I wouldn't be at the cabin if they didn't allow me to come and fly me up here. So anyway, I'm kind of like, I don't want to step on toes and tell her that she's in the echo chamber, but I know that she is. So
But your awareness has set that line of respect, and I think that's super wonderful to hear.
yeah.
Okay. So now that we've gone over a few different things, a couple different strengths, a few reminders of self-love and self-worth, for anyone who is willing to do so, I have a self-affirmation activity for our next slide. So if you happen to have a pen and paper available or one in reach, if you want to grab it, we will go ahead and get started. Does anyone have any questions before we do? All right, wonderful. So if everyone is ready, I'm going to go ahead and get out a little timer here. Okay, so creating our self-affirmations. Affirmations allow for self-encouragement and support. I love self-affirmations. I have a few different ones that I really like. Oh, hey, Janice, welcome in. I was talking about your self-love high fives earlier.
Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. I was on another Zoom call and I'm like, so anyways.
That's okay. I'm super glad that you could make it. Thank you for joining.
Oh, for sure. Thank you.
Well, if you happen to have a pen and paper available or in reach, we're going to do some self-affirmations here. So 3 very just standardized self-affirmations to support you through this activity. There's many different ways to do self-affirmations. This is just the one that I had decided to focus on for today. So we're going to start off by number 1, writing "I am," and you're going to write down your strongest quality that comes to mind. And second strongest quality that comes to mind. Then next after that, and I utilize these skills to ... whatever positive impact you want to make. Okay, and I'm just going to set a good little 5-minute timer here. And I'll give you guys a little while to kind of put together your thoughts. And feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the process. So we do still have 3 minutes left, but if everyone's done, we'll go ahead and move forward. If you're not done, maybe just shoot a little high five onto the screen there. Okay. Perfect. So, discussion time. And before we wrap things up a little bit here. So, I just wanted to share a quick little affirmation that I created with you guys. I am joy and love, and I use these skills to evoke joy and love in all of those around me. And if everyone else would be if you're not willing to discuss your self-affirmation, that is perfectly okay. Please just put the little hand on the screen or the no so that we know. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and kind of go down the road here and call on everyone. Thumbs up if you're ready. Did you need another minute, Red? I don't want to rush anyone.
No, I'm ready. Sorry.
Perfect.
I would say, and I'm going to combine, I'm caring and appreciative of my surroundings, of people I work with, or little things that I need to do for others. And I'm resourceful and bold. So I'm putting those together because I'll step up and know how to get help when I need it, and step forward when I need to voice something, but do it politely. I very rarely get angry or mad. And a big example is the last 2 days I've been on the road working on a case of helping a family down in Waddell find their dog. And it's a long story, but it really pulled out all these strengths that I just threw forward. And it's just in that one situation. And then personally in my life, if I want to make somebody feel comfortable and they come to my home, I make sure that the room they're going to stay in is like being at a hotel, and I'll leave little gifts for them and make sure the room is clean and fresh and sort of thing like that. I would put myself in their situation. So that would be another example.
Lots of empathy and kindness there, generosity, Red.
Yeah, I guess.
So now I know where I'm staying if I go north.
We're all going to Red's house.
Yeah, right.
Tim makes me laugh so much. He's so funny. I want to come to Minnesota and hang out with you in the woods up there. I think that would be wonderful.
It's kind of quiet here now, so there's plenty of room. Come on up.
Well, if I bring my Great Dane, it won't be quiet because he'll be wanting to play in the woods.
Right, that might be a challenge. Might be a lot of dog here.
Okay.
All right, Tim. I think it's all you.
All right. So I'm tenacious and intelligent, and I use my skills to better myself and others. So, for me, the next step is global health, because I want to continue to better myself and better other people globally. So.
Wonderful. Ready to take that action and make sure everyone else is taken care of.
Yes.
All right. Janice, I have you under Tim.
All right. Red, put my name on the waiting list, okay?
Oh, you guys are making me laugh.
Okay, so I wrote down, I am compassionate and I am curious, and I use these skills to let people know that I care.
Love it. Yeah, you definitely have to be curious about other people to make sure that they know that you're listening and you care. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Rehab, you are under Janice on my end.
So I'm self-motivated and I use these skills to counteract hurdles to my career progress.
Oh no. I think you're cutting out.
that impacted my career progress. Are you hearing me?
Now I hear you.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I passed through a hardship that impacted my career progress, and at the time, I was completely lost. I wasn't. Uh, Usually, in my country, we start our master's degree following maximally 2 years from graduation or from our bachelor's. So for me and from someone in the medical field, this was a hardship because I wasn't aware how I'm going to start my master's degree as soon as possible. So when a door was closed, surprisingly, another door was opened, which is a scholarship funding my degree at Arizona State University. So it's definitely beyond my imagination that I would have this opportunity. So and when I think back, I never think about the doors that was closed because it's Arizona State University. To get a degree from it is a way better. So these are like lately.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that you have so many opportunities. Would you mind repeating your affirmation for me though? Because I cut out right in the middle of yours and I wanted to hear it.
So I am self-motivated and organized, and I use these skills to counteract hurdles to my career progress.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense hearing your your reasoning behind it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Well, that just about, I know we've run out of time here, so I appreciate all of you kind of hanging on there, and I appreciate you, Red, for giving me that extra time in the beginning there. Thank you so much. Is there any, I have a couple of wrap-up questions. If you have to go, I completely understand. If you can stay and answer a few, then that would be wonderful. Red, do you have time?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, perfect. So would anyone like to share what they got out of today's session?
I'll go ahead and start. I think this is really good because sometimes when you're going through, especially some of you may be in class right now, or some have taken the summer off, or you are getting ready to transition into your master's program. Like Tim, he's relaxing right now, or we're on vacation. Kieran's getting ready to go on vacation Saturday. Our minds need to stop for a moment and slow down and refocus back on things that are really important, and these growth series do just that, and this was refreshing. So this is what I got out of it. I got a lot out of it, and it helped refresh my mind, especially when I've been going so fast for the last 2 days, and it helps me take a breath again and refocus. I've been taking notes throughout, so that helps as well. It helps me to go back. So that's what this was like. Here's an example. If I can paint this in a picture for taste buds. I do not drink soda or pop or anything, but if you've ever had 7-Up with lime or lemon, or a Perrier with lemon and lime, just that refreshing taste that goes into your mouth, that's what this was like for me today.
Yay. Okay. Is there anything you would have liked to have focused further on throughout this session?
No, everything was great for me.
Well, thank you. If we were to do a part 3, is there anything specific you would like to discuss beyond this?
Is this asking me or someone else?
I think just anyone, like if you were to continue on speaking about self-love and self-worth.
I like the open communication and giving ourselves to like detach from our daily activities and like reflect on our self-worth and self-awareness. I'm not sure if it's feasible to add like some sort of meditation exercises, like short-term relaxation. I'm not sure if is it like related to what we are talking about, but I felt adding a small exercise like that would be beneficial.
I do like that. Yes, that's helpful. Thank you. I thought about it too, and I went in the ABC decision instead. So I'll have to maybe do 2 exercises next time.
Well, Crystal, I'm going to jump in. I think, Crystal, you did do a breathing exercise because you do teach yoga, and you shared that in part 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, is there anything from me that you would have liked to have done differently? No.
No, it went perfect.
Well, wonderful. Well, I just want to thank all of you for your time and for your